First of all, Dave McKeon. Hi. Hi, good. First of all, one of the things that was touched on earlier today is the fact that this isn't the first state plan. This is the third. And this has been going on for 25 years. And I can tell you, the plans that were out there before were completely unworkable, much more strenuous. And it really points to the inefficiency of government and the fact that things haven't been working properly. Departments at the state level in particular have not been talking to each other, have sabotaged each other at one point or another, and it's really been to the detriment of the local communities in the county. In my perspective, one of the positive things that this plan does is it addresses that and basically says, state agencies, you need to work together. You're not on your own. You don't do your own thing. You work for the state of New Jersey. You work for the people, and you need to do your own thing. The other thing I like about the plan, as far as the economic development areas, and the fact that it's not targeted lot by lot by lot. Here's where what you're going to do on this lot. Here's what you're going to do on that. It is general, and as far as economic development, it recognizes that different parts of New Jersey are different. Even in Ocean County, your Lakewood is much different than Tuckerton, is much different than New Egypt. They rely on different industries. One of the most important developing areas now in Ocean County is the Joint Military Base, Joint Base McGuire, Dixon, Lakehurst. We share that with Burlington County. It is very important, not just to us, but obviously to the national security. We have been working for a number of years with the county, Burlington County, with the towns, and with some of the state agencies at coordinating the activities around the base, making sure what happens is consistent, not in conflict with the base, and that there are opportunities for our residents to take advantage of some of the higher paying jobs that can come with working with that base. But there's other areas in the county, such as whether you go down to Cumberland County, which is heavily reliant on the fishing industry and shellfish and so on, whether you're in Atlantic City relying on the tourism and the other shore towns, whether you're up in Hudson County, you have different focuses. And I believe this state plan allows the flexibility that says it isn't one size that fits all, but that different areas of the states are important for different reasons, and they should be supported in those efforts. As far as some of the concerns that have been mentioned here today, and we've had to have conversations in Ocean County, obviously, whether it's intended, unintended consequences, there are some very serious concerns that are being expressed in this room today. It needs to make that into whatever final draft or final plan, that there are people that are sounding alarm bells or warning bells that I think it's a much more innocent process, but if we are stumbling into something that we don't anticipate, that needs to be looked at and that needs to be addressed in the plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
First, with all due respect, I would like to know, as much as I would like to be specific, how, with any degree of intelligence or common sense, could you make that statement when we have not had access to this information prior to this meeting? How would somebody in your organization or your organization like to get on Fox News, because that would be the only outlet that would let us know that it was going on? I cannot ask specifically other than who wrote this up. Who was on the panel that wrote this sham of a controlling instrument up? I would like to know. Seriously, would you please tell me? Can I have a list of the people that contributed to this horrendous?
Where did it originate?
What do you want to know? That's a specific question.
Within the Department of State, if you can, please give us your comments on the plan.
I'm asking you a question specifically related. I want to know who developed this plan. I want names, and I want to know what they did. I, sir, have worked in the private sector and in the public sector. I know, from having worked in the public sector, these people have had a few too many doses of self-importance and don't realize that it is the private sector that keeps this country going.
Yeah.
We don't want this rhetoric and this BS and, come on, let's get past this and we'll do 5 minutes. Come on. This is serious. This is a horrendous, serious change to America as we have known it for many, many years. And we deserve an explanation. That's my specific question. I want to know who did this. I want to know why we're paying these people to do this.
Yep. If they did go to the private sector, let me assure you, they could not make it more than a week. These people, the less of them, the better. And I do not have my answer. I do want a specific list of who planned it and why.
I'd be happy to provide that.
I really do want that, and I want to know how I'm
Publicly?
so that I can disseminate it through as many municipalities that I know.
Through the email, we'd be happy to.
And it's horrendous that you came here tonight and said, oh,
That
we
ought to be
have
public
this
information.
Why don't we have this information ahead of time? Why? Why is it kept quiet from the public? I want to know that.
What happened to AJ?
Man? What happened? Yeah, because
I've
Fox
had
didn't
it for
pick
6
it up
weeks.
yet.
It's been on the website, it's been published in the newspapers.
On the website, sir.
We can't get into it, I appreciate it, but we can't get into,
Okay.
this is really the period for your comment.
I'm asking you, and I made my comment.
Okay, thank you very much. Frank? Crescenzo?
Yes, that's me. I don't know about these technical things that go on in tonight, but this plan is going to develop, as I read it in Edinburgh Park Press, 300,000 acres for additional development out against that plan. And if this plan is going to have growth areas in the New Jersey Highlands and our pines, which is the only two major sources of drinking water in the state, I'm against that plan too. And I also read that if a township wanted to have a green acres program for a farm or an area, this plan would not allow that to happen because it was designated as a so-called area.
We live in the most crowded, densely populated state and polluted state in the country. Everywhere I go, and you must go there too, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic. There's wall-to-wall sprawl.
By design.
I live in Lacey Township. They wiped out all the farms. All the woods are gone. There's nothing left but traffic, businesses that are eking out a living because one is cutting the throat of the other. We had a Walmart open up, which wiped out all the small stores. We had a Home Depot, which isn't really doing that well, and they wiped out all the hardware stores in town. They're gone.
That's called progress.
Well, it's progress, but I'm just saying that when you drive in Lacey Township, all you see is small stores. And all these businesses have one thing in common. They want to take money out of your pocket and put it in theirs. And there's only so many pockets big enough to accommodate that. In case you haven't been reading the papers, the middle class is shrinking. Susie Orman says the middle class is gone. And if anybody making $80,000 a year, now getting a job at 35, 40, that's it, baby, because there's 15 people looking for your job. You don't like it? Get the hell out of here. And that's the end of the middle class. So how many things are they going to be able to buy with all this business support going on? All I know is when I drive by a farm, my blood pressure drops. It's pleasant. There's no argument, there's no tea party, there's no this. It's just pleasant to look at. It's something that we're losing in the state big time.
So buy the land, and then you can look at it every day.
Own property, it's great.
I just want to ask everybody, as tempting as it is to be yelling out, getting into it back and forth, it's very difficult if you listen to these tapes back. We really want to get individual comments, and it's more productive for us if it's clear and on tape, and we can get the comment uninterrupted. So please refrain from yelling out. Jim Gillingham.
Thanks, Dan. So my name is Tim Dillingham. I'm the director of the American Littoral Society, which is a conservation organization that works along the coast, works along the ocean. I will say that I'm also not a great fan of where we are in this process right now, but for very different reasons than I heard before earlier on in the evening. So my group is 6,000 members. They all donate their hard-earned money to support the work that we do. We try to protect the beaches, we try to protect the fish, we try to protect Barnett Bay, clean water, make sure everybody has access to those areas. But we're also very concerned about what happens to the land. Because we know that we have to protect the land in order to protect the water. And we all have a very deep stake in this because whether you like it or not, we live in a very small state, a very interrelated state. And we are all neighbors, we're all New Jerseyans. What happens here is It's affected by the ships that come in with Port of Newark, by the trains that come through my neighborhood in Mercer County, that bring all the materials that folks I'm sure all have in their homes, in their cars. So we don't live independently. There's 8 million of us. This is a state that needs a state plan. We need to have a common vision. It ought to be brought up through a conversation, a civil conversation, not yelling at each other, one that looks at what the impacts are. I'll tell you that it's one side, just like training. That when I look at places like Barnegat Bay, what we see are the shellfish are disappearing, with them go the jobs. There used to be 900 men that made their livings, made good livings, supported families for generations on that bay. They're almost all gone now. And they're gone because we didn't take care as to how we developed the land. Land in Pinelands, land around the Parkway here. So if you want to talk economics, you have to protect the environment, protect the economics. You know, you worry about your property taxes, time and time again, you sit down with somebody who knows numbers, they'll show you how growth and development, Mr. Akers talked about, is what puts money on your tax bill. If you're concerned about your health, think about the pollution in this state. We have the unfortunate reputation and the unfortunate place of being the largest number of Superfund sites. It's because we didn't take care in the future. So we need to take steps to make sure that business, that industry, take care, are good stewards, take care of our communities, and by extension, take care of our kids, take care of our ability to live in these communities. I don't think this plan gets there because of the fact that it doesn't provide us with a predictable ability to look into the future, look at those generations that we're all concerned about. I've got 3 kids, one going into college, 2 in high school. Right? I brought them up in the state. My wife's family's been here for generations. We don't have the ability to look forward and say the next 2 generations of kids are going to be able to be here. You have to stop and understand how much growth is going to happen, what its effects are going to be on your neighbor, what effect it's going to have on the town, and how we do this. So the plan hasn't gotten to recognizing that interconnectedness. The approaches, I think, need to be much more developed. There needs to be more balance into the plan, recognizing the role of environmental protection, protecting parts of the land, protecting these resources I just talked about. It's dominated by economic development right now. We will not get there only paying attention to one side of the coin. And lastly, my last point would be, I would ask that the plan specifically recognize the coast, the ocean, the shore as a region. I also think the regional idea is a good idea. The state is very diverse, but there are certain things that we share, like our constitutional rights, that all New Jerseyans have, but we don't apply them a little bit differently. So the coast needs to be recognized as a very specific region by itself. Thank you.
Regions are loss of sovereignty.
Richard, I apologize for that. Everybody does. Indeed, one of the few. Steve Naglitz, graduate student here at Stockton in the Environmental Science program. I get that the plan deals primarily with the economic engines and the development of that resource or those resources for the state. Tough economic times, you're going to try and maximize however much money you can get out of the businesses that have been key to the state all this time. One of the things that I think the plan doesn't cover, and when you get to your 4th goal, it talks about local government and regional representation. I see all the big authorities, I see all the big commissions. Those same commissions have people appointed by the governor, by the local authorities who they need to work with, and always include citizen representation. When this plan becomes final, there isn't a way for the private citizen or the literal society to have input into the plan as part of what the requirements will eventually be. How many businesses do you support for their money that go out of business and leave the state because it's no longer viable for them and we're left to clean up the problems? By having representation from a group of citizens, appointed citizens, however you want to go about it, make sure that all these voices here have been heard. And at the same time, any local planning board will look for the representation of all the people in their area. You're missing that in this plan. And even though not everybody's saying it, all their comments are saying, we're not being represented when it comes time to make those final decisions. Put in groups like the Literal Society, Stockton, whoever you come up with for representation, but it should be equal to all the businesses that are there. Thank you.
My name is Bill Haney. I'm from Vincenttown, New Jersey, which is in Burlington County. And I spent a lot of time going over the plan, and there are a couple of points I'd like to make. First has to do with real estate prices. If you took a look at what the plan was many parts of the plan were all about, was the forcing of citizens to live in town centers. And Portland, Oregon serves as a perfect example of what happened when they had minimum density as opposed to a maximum density local ordinance laws. It drove the price of real estate through the roof. What happened was they said, okay, now you have to have in this particular community buildings of no fewer than 3 units. They raised that to 5 units, 7 units, and as a consequence, the land real estate prices went up through the roof. They did the same thing in San Francisco, California. That's the left coast. They do odd things out there. And what they did was that they had in one of the mission districts of San Francisco an opportunity to do some redevelopment. And a lot of the people who represented the indigenous poor came to them and said, this is not a good idea, because what happens when you have these development processes implemented, the poor lose. And the city said, well, that's tough shit on the poor. And they went ahead and improved this facility, which was an apartment building. I think it was a 15-story apartment building with about 600 or 700 units. And as a consequence,